So DoorDash is going to look for ways to change their pay model according to an email that was just sent out to all drivers. Now, this should be very interesting to see what exactly they do, if they do anything. And one of the claims they make about how much they pay drivers is very interesting also. So let's take a look at the email that DoorDash sent all of his drivers this week. Over the past few weeks, there has been a lot of discussion in the media about our pay model. So I wanted to reach out to you directly. We know that you come to DoorDash to help achieve your goals. We want to fuel your success, and our North Star has always been and forever will be to do what's best for the Dashers, consumers, and merchants we serve. That's very poetic almost. Okay, so prior to rolling out the pay model in 2017, we conducted months of testing and surveyed thousands of Dashers. Our primary goal was to ensure that Dashers receive a fair amount for every delivery, regardless of the size of the order or whether the customer leaves a big tip, a small tip, or no tip at all. We continue to hear from many of you that the model works. You know how much you'll receive in advance. You receive the guaranteed minimum even if the driver doesn't tip. And in 2018, U.S. Dashers received, on average, more than $17.50 per hour on a delivery. But we've also heard from some who've expressed confusion about how pay is calculated and what happens with tips. Now, as has been discussed by me and several other people regarding that $17.50 per hour on a delivery, that is not the actual figure that drivers make. Because drivers suffer from car depreciation, they also pay for gas, etc. So the real price is always $17.50 per hour minus the expenses that drivers have to incur. So I think it's a little disingenuous for DoorDash and everyone else to always, talk about what the gross pay is, minus the expenses that drivers have to pay. But anyway, back to the email. In the coming weeks, we'll be launching surveys and organizing Dasher roundtables to hear even more from you. What you think works, what you think doesn't work, etc. If you would like to participate, click on this link. Okay. As CEO of DoorDash, I am committed to continually listening so we can build the best platform for all of our users. We look forward from hearing from you, Tony. Well, Tony, as CEO, let me be the first to say, I do like the fact that we are able to see how much we are getting paid before we drive. I like that you guys let us know where we're going to go so that we can decide whether or not we want to accept a trip, etc. So DoorDash has a lot of perks. But what I would like you to consider when you are calculating how much to pay drivers, consider their actual cost. Consider that we are the ones providing the vehicles, paying for the insurance, paying for the car depreciation, paying for the gas. So I think that we deserve to be paid a fair wage. Now, I know that DoorDash has competition with Uber Eats and Postmates, Grubhub, etc. And I understand that the margins may be smaller than what us drivers think, right? So I appreciate the pay. Even if it's below minimum wage in some places, the fact that you can work when you want, that you can treat it as a side gig, etc., has huge benefits. It's wildly valuable to some people. But if DoorDash is and whether or not DoorDash partners with Postmates in the future, like if they merge, or if there's only 2 or 5 or however much competition there is, however much the margins are, if you have employees, you should morally pay them a fair wage. Now, DoorDash might counter by saying, well, drivers are not employees, they're independent contractors, which is a whole nother can of worms. Because we're human. And what's even scarier is that DoorDash, Postmates, and Uber Eats are going to try to eliminate drivers altogether so that they don't have to worry about paying a fair wage. They want to automate everything. So, I just wish we lived in a society and in a world in which we valued each other as human beings. That we realize that what's good for our neighbors is good for us. So even the fact that DoorDash wants to automate deliveries so that they can make just more money. How much money is enough? How much is it to say, what? Our platform makes the entire country a better place, the entire world a better place. So that's why we do what we do. Not for the sake of selfish intentions. But that's the world we live in. That's the world that we have created, but it's a sad world. It's a sad world. So one day, DoorDash and Uber Eats and Postmates, they will automate everything, and there won't be any drivers for their platforms, and there'll be no one to complain. And they'll make more money than they do now. But I think that the world will be a worse off place for it. So, Tony, I want you to consider those things. Okay? That's what I'm going to write to you. To consider your place, in the grand scheme of things. But, there's always competition. Even if DoorDash doesn't do it, Uber Eats will, Postmates will. So the world is fueled by greed. And that's what I take from all of this, is greed. But right now, in the short term, if you don't want to call them employees, you want to call them independent contractors, pay them more, okay? Pay us more. Anyway, as always, this is Dante, and remember to drive and thrive.